Okay, everybody, good evening. So today will be the last class of Introduction of Buddhism. So today I ask you to recite Dhu-dra in Chinese because all the Mahayana Buddhists they recite the Dhu-dra, but they recite the Dhu-dra as a chanting. And many of us, we really don't know the meaning. The Dhu-dra is very important because it consists, contain all the meaning of Buddha teaching. Also, it's very simple, kind of text, but it contains all the Buddha teaching. Also, if you really try to know the meaning, the Dhu-dra is actually lamrim. It shows us from beginning to the end. For example, the essence of the sentence is teyatha, right? Teyatha. Teyatha means things are like that. That means things are changing momentarily. Things are empty of inherent existence. Teyatha. They mean the all phenomena. Then Gade, he talk about accumulation paths. Second Gade, he talk about preparation paths. Theatha, Gade, Paragade explain, the seeing path. Prasangade explain the meditation path. Bodhi Soha, he explained the normal learning paths. That means Theatha is talk about the content, the meaning of the emptiness. Then Gade, Pragade, Prasamgade, Bodhi Soha. If you, realize emptiness, continuously meditate on emptiness with the bodhicitta, first you reach Gade, which is, accumulation path. Then continuously you meditate on emptiness with the bodhicitta. Second, you reach second Gade, which is preparation path. Then Paragade, still you continuously practice emptiness with the bodhicitta or bodhicitta with the emptiness. Then you're going to reach the seeing path, which is you can see emptiness directly. Then still you continuously practice bodhicitta and emptiness as well as the six paranjana paramita. Then you're going to reach the meditation path. When you reach to meditation paths, the state, then that time you don't have most of the negative thoughts or negative emotions like anger, attachment, desire. But still you have certain kind of subtle negativity. So the subtle negativity you need to eliminate when you first time when you reach no more learning path, then you become a Buddha. So Dhu-dra is very important. So in order to know the complete meaning of Dhu-dra, first you need to know the basic, you must have a basic knowledge of all phenomena. Second, you must know the impermanence, emptiness. Then third, you must know, in order to understand impermanence, what you need to negate. In order to realize emptiness, you must know what the negation you must negate. Then you're going to realize emptiness. Okay, so today, I'm supposed to explain more about the mind. So I shortly make a revision. Okay, first we have one chart, right? What we call selflessness. That means make sure. For example, Dhu-dra say, no eyes, no nose, no tongue. He's talking about, there's not such a thing exists independently. That's because selflessness. Nothing exists by themselves. For example, simply I draw, okay, this is one stick. There's another stick. So when you put two sticks very balancedly, two sticks can stand up, right? Stand up. So this stick depends on this stick. This stick also depends on this stick in order to stand. That means this stick cannot exist, cannot stand independently, because it can be stand depend on it. This also must depend on it to stand up. That means things are exactly independent each other. There's nothing exists independently. When we learn the concept of dependent origination is so useful, so important. For example, when you get upset, somebody make you upset, right? Most time many people make you upset. That time we always say, he or she make me upset, you make me upset, he make me. We always point to others. We never think one stick is missing. When somebody make you upset, you must know it's not only from her or him, also me also involved to make me upset. Without you, that person cannot make you upset. Without him or her, you cannot be upset. The upset, the unhappiness arising depend on many causes and conditions. So dependent origination is very important. That means all phenomena, existent or non-existent phenomena, what we call selflessness. Nothing exists independently, nothing exists from themselves. Within the selflessness, how many categories there are? Two. That means selflessness can be divided into two categories. What are they? Existent and non-existent. Just think about something exists, then we can feel, we can see, it make you upset. Something not exists anywhere. Something not exists here. That's why you cannot see, you cannot feel, you cannot hear. For example, if you try to see, I think most of you went to Bodh Gaya. Are you? I think most of you went to Bodh Gaya. If I ask you to imagine Bodh Gaya, you can imagine Bodh Gaya right here. If I ask you to see, can you see Bodh Gaya here? You cannot see, you cannot touch, you cannot feel it here. That means the Bodh Gaya stupa does not exist here, right? That means all phenomena, can be exist or non-exist. But within the existent phenomena, how many categories we have? Two. Okay, that means the things which exist is there, then can be two possibility, right? What are they? Permanent and impermanent. Make sure anything, the things which exist can be permanent, can be impermanent. There's only two possibility. There's not third, possibility. Why not? Some phenomena, some phenomena, if the phenomena depend on causes and condition, the phenomena what we call impermanent. The phenomena which doesn't have any causes and condition, then what we call is impermanent. Can you think any third phenomena which is not included in either permanent or neither impermanent? Can you think about any phenomena which is not include two of them? Can you imagine? Can you think? No, right? If you think about house, impermanent. If you think about car and food and everything is impermanent. So there's not third possibility, only two possibility, which is permanent and impermanent. So within the impermanent, how many categories? With impermanent theories. Within the permanent, True. What are they? Every time, somewhere, sometime. That means the phenomena is permanent. For example, space, emptiness. Space is permanent everywhere. Yeah, the space is everywhere. Wherever you go, you can see space. For example, if the cup inside cup there's no space, there's no empty. No empty, we cannot pour water, tea. That means there's empty, there's a space. Empty and space are not exactly the same meaning. Make sure you will learn in more detail in future. That means space is permanent everywhere, every time. But space of this whole, we have a empty, right? We are empty, that's why we can come, we can go. Space of this whole exists where? Exists only here, not exists other place. It's permanent, it exists here, it's not permanent every time. Because when the TBC move, there's no more TBC, Tibetan Buddhist Center, there's no more Tibetan Buddhist Center whole, then the emptiness also has gone. Then second, within the impermanence, how many categories? Three. What are they? Form, consciousness, non-stated formation. You don't have to really believe, what I said. You don't have to believe what the text says. The text says, the Buddha, all the Indian master says, Tibetan master, Chinese master says, all impermanent phenomena, there's three possibilities, can be form, can be consciousness, can be no form, neither consciousness. Can you think there's one object, one impermanent phenomena, which is not included into form or consciousness or non-acidic formation? Can you think? Just think very carefully. For example, we have a body, right? This body included into form. Because in the Heart Sutra, it says 5 aggregates. Within the 5, first one, form. Okay, form is, our body is form. The sound, the smell, the taste, the structure, the light, everything is what? Form. How we can prove the sound is form? Sound, right? Sound is form. For example, we can hear the sound from the road. If we totally block the doors and window, we cannot hear sound. Because the wall, block the sound. The sound come all the way to the wall, but cannot enter because it's blocked. That means it's touching. It's mean form. Okay. Within the form, how many categories? Two categories. What are they? Outer form, inner form. Okay. Make sure form can be two possibility. Inner form, outer form. What does mean inner and outer form? The form which is connect, with the consciousness, feeling, we call inner form. For example, this body, we include the inner form because it's a form, but it is connect with the feeling, right? If somebody pull this skin, you feel, pain. Then 5 aggregates, eyes organ, air organ, the 5 are included into inner form, inner rupa. But within the inner form, there's 5. Okay, 5 organs. What are they? Eyes organ, nose organ, air organ, tongue organ, body. Those are what we call inner form. What does mean inner form? Those are the form as well as connect or conjoined with the feeling. That's what we call inner form. So within the outer form, how many are there? Two. Look at that. Now we have studied very shortly the inner form. So outer form, there's a two. What are they? Shape and color. Shape and color. Within the color, how many categories? Two. Right? What are they? Root color or branches color. Then shape, there's a 8. So we don't need to study more than. Now here, I said many times, that means, for example, sound is outer form. Sound is form. That's why sound is form. Form is impermanent. Impermanent is a existent phenomena. Okay, make sure. That means all the branches must be included into the root. For example, water include into outer form. Outer form include into form. Form in impermanence. Impermanence include into the existent phenomena. Existent phenomena include into selflessness. That means now you can see, according to Buddhist phenomena, Buddhist psychology or Buddhism, what are the four seals? Four seals. All conditioned phenomena, impermanence. Second, all contaminated phenomena, nature of suffering. Third, all phenomena, selflessness. Fourth one, nirvana is completely peace. As a Buddhist, we must know the four seals. If you really believe all conditioned phenomena are impermanence, contaminated phenomena are, naturally suffering. All phenomena, selflessness. Nirvana is completely peace. If you really believe four of them, then you are Buddhist. Because seals, four seals, right? And also Buddhist and non-Buddhist, we can differentiate, believe, accept in four seals, you are Buddhist. If you don't accept four seals, you are out of the Buddhist. Also Buddhist and non-Buddhist, we can differentiate, based on view. Based on view. Okay, now we next study about the mind. Okay, let's say mind. Okay, mind, generally mind, consciousness are synonymous. Awareness are synonymous. For example, I consciousness is a consciousness. I consciousness is mind. I consciousness is awareness. Okay, clear? As well as, for example, ignorance is a mind. Ignorance is consciousness. Ignorance is awareness. They are synonymous. So mind we can, we put here better. This is a mind. So mind we can category, how many? How many categories? 7. Okay, let's say, let's put like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more. 7. Clear? So before I explain this, so in Buddhist, in the ancient time, there were 4 philosophical schools, 4 schools. Okay? First what we call Vabhashika. Vabhashika, first school. Second school is Swatantratika. Third school is Chidamantra school. Fourth school is Madhyamaka school. Okay, make sure it's so important. First school, Vaibhashika. Second is Swatantratika. Third is Chittamantra school. Fourth is Madhyamaka school. We must know because if you don't know the four schools, then you don't understand there's a different views within the different schools. When you study Lamrim, when you study any books, when you read any books, you will have a lot of confusion. First, you know, Buddhist has a four different schools. We're not talking about, Theravada school, Mahayana, Hinayana, no. Four schools. The first school, what we call Vaibhashika. The Vaibhashika school, the belief system is very similar with our view, the normal people view, ordinary people view, very similar. The Swatantratika also very similar. Third, when you study Chitta Mantra school, there's a big difference. If you study furthermore like Madhyamaka, there's a big difference. Why I said Chitta Mantra school? Because according to Chitta Mantra school, the school, the proponent believe there are 8 minds. 8 minds. Okay? The first school believe there is only one mind. First, Chitta Mantra school explain believe in 7 minds. When you read the ancient Chinese book about Buddhism or Buddhist philosophy, they talk about 8 minds. So there's not just one mind, there are so many different types of minds. So all the mind you can categorize in many different ways. Now we categorize into 7. Can I have the book? Okay. Thank you. Sevenfold division of the mind. The first one, we can just put D, mean direct, valid, perceiver. Okay, direct, valid, perceiver. Perceiver means the mind which perceive the object. We call perceiver, right? We receive, receiver. Perceive, perceiver. That means direct perceiver. 1. Second, we call I, right? Just put I. I mean inferential cognizer. So I think most of you, never attend or study, never in this class. Don't worry. I just give you seats. So in the future you can grow. Direct perceiver. Inferential cognizer. Inferential cognizer. Very important, huh? Then third one, subsequent cognizer. Just put S. Okay, direct perceiver, inferential cognizer, subsequent cognizer. Okay, then fourth. Okay, C. We can put C. Correctly assuming consciousness. Okay, correctly assuming consciousness. C. Then next one, non-desiring direct perceiver. Just put N. But it's so small, I don't think you can see all of them. N. Then the sixth one, what are the six? Doubting consciousness. Again put just D. The seventh one, okay, just put again D, right? So you can categorize many ways. Now we are categorizing into 7fold. Number 1, direct, valid, valid, perceiver. Okay, direct. You said direct. Second, they said, it said valid, right? Valid. Third, perceiver. There's a three. Okay, direct. Then plus valid. Third, perceiver. Clear? Second, inferential cognizer. Third, subsequent cognizer. Fourth, correctly assuming consciousness. Then fifth one, direct perceiver. Then fifth one, sixth one, doubting consciousness. The seventh one, deceptive wrong consciousness. Now as here, direct, direct valid perceiver so we have a 5 senses, right? 5 senses. All the 5 senses perceive what? Perceive the object. Okay. For example, me here I am subject. All of you object because I can see all of you. I am subject. You are object. For you, I am object. You are subject. Because you can see me, you can perceive me, right? That's why object and subject. For example, when you look at the Buddha statue, you can see the Buddha statue. You can see directly. You don't need to go through any other, means and methods, right? You can see the Buddha statue directly. That's called direct. It is valid or non-valid. It depends. It depends. For example, this Buddha statue color is what? Is golden color. Due to jaundice, somebody has a jaundice. You can see it's a kind of very yellow, not that golden color. When you see the Buddha statue color is like a green and blue, you perceiving the statue directly, but not valid, because the Buddha statue color is not yellow, not red, not green. It is yellow, because like golden color. The second is a valid. Third, perceiver, right? Then means the 5 senses can perceive the object directly, not necessarily valid. Not necessary. When if everybody wear like a green glass, when you look at a Buddha statue, what color we can see? Everything is green. Green is not valid. It's mistaken mind. Okay. Everything is very easy to understand. Then, second, we talk a little bit about the 6 mind. 6 mind. Okay. Number 5. Then next one, number 6. So we know we have a 5, consciousness. The 6th one. What is the 6 will be? 6 mind. Doubting consciousness. All of them, most of them, for example, when you get angry, upset, attachment, desire, compassion, kindness, all of them include into 6 mind. Okay, 6 mind. For example, when you see the Buddha statue, first you just perceive the Buddha statue. Second, you think, the statue is so beautiful, right? Oh, the statue is not so beautiful. It's good. That mind is not the I consciousness, it's the 6 mind. I consciousness just perceive the object. It doesn't have a ability to make a judgment. All the judgment judged by 6 mind. Okay, 6 mind. Then within the 6 mind, for example, how you can understand impermanence? How you can understand impermanent? Impermanent, right? You cannot see the subtle impermanent by your eyes. You cannot hear. You can understand only through the six mind. Clear? Six mind. How? For example, you need to use a lot of logics and reasoning. Through logic and reasoning, finally you can understand, yes, this phenomena is impermanent. That he has, correctly, assuming consciousness. Doing a lot of study, lot of analyze, use lot of logics. Finally, you have 100, almost 99 assumption. They say, yes, this phenomena must be impermanent. Still, you continuously think about, using a lot of logic, reason. Finally, you have 100% sure, 100% you got the conviction about, the phenomena is impermanent. Still, you just using logic, and you just understand. Understand by which mind? Six mind. Okay, six mind. Then you just continuously meditate, familiar with the impermanence of your mind. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. Then the mind which is, understood impermanence, it becomes more clear. Finally, the mind can see impermanence directly by six mind. Directly means, I think you have it's a link with the inferential. Until you see impermanence directly, what we call inferential cognizer. Inferential cognizer. Clear? What does mean inferential cognizer? Give you, for a simple example. This is, let's say, eyes. Eyes, right? This is a kind of tree. The eyes can see tree directly, right? There's no any object between eyes and tree. No. In order to see the tree, we need eyes. We need eyes consciousness. Also, we need light. Very simple. Second, okay, this is, let's say, six mind. Say this is, impermanent phenomena. I or I, right? Impermanent. I. Let's say this impermanent. This mind can, perceive impermanent. The mind can see impermanent directly? No, cannot. Directly, what things between the mind and impermanent? There must be something in between. Obscuration? Okay, I'll give you example. I think everybody has okay. Let's say everybody has a kitchen, right? In your home, everybody has a small or big kitchen. Just imagine you are like a stove, gas stove. Gas stove, right? Gas stove. It look like you just when you imagine, you look like you are really seeing the stove, right? Stove. Are you really seeing the stove from here? Can you see your home from here? Your room from here? You cannot. But still, you have very vividly. You can look like you are seeing, right? Actually, you are not really seeing the stove. You are seeing the imaginary. That means this is a mind. This impermanent. Between impermanent and mind, there's a imaginary. I think imaginary. Okay. Image, right? Yeah. Image. The image is between the subject, six mind, the object, impermanent. That means, right now, if you try to, see your home from here, you have a very vivid picture in your mind. At the moment, you are seeing what? You are seeing the imaginary of your home. So between your home and mind, there's an imaginary. That's why you cannot see your house directly. If the imaginary, disappear one day, then you can see your house from here directly. That means, so as a beginner, you just use logic, reason. You try to understand impermanence 100%. You meditate on impermanence for many years. Slowly, the imaginary become more thin and thin. Finally, one day, the imaginary going to disappear. Then the 6-month mind transform as a direct perceiver. What we call? Then we call arhat, arya, arya. We call arya. Direct perceiver perceive the object directly. Inferential means is a mind can perceive object not directly. It perceive the object depend on the imaginary. Do you understand imaginary? Imaginary. Image is come from the mind. We use a lot of logic and reasoning. The mind make a assumption. The object is impermanent. Then suddenly the mind has a kind of image. Image built come based on perceive the object through understand the object through reasoning and logic. We call image, but Tibetan we call dunji. Is a direct good translation. Actually, the imaginary come from the mind. For example, I have a mirror, right? If I first told you all the image come from here, come in the mirror. Come from where? The image come from where? From the mirror. Depend on the object. Okay. Direct perceiver, inferential cognizer. Again, same thing. Cognize, we call cognizer. Perceive, we call perceiver, cognizer. The third one.
Subsequent cognizer.
Okay, subsequent cognizer, right? Number 3. Geshe. Okay, based on English language, what do you think about subsequent cognizer? Later. So in Buddhism, it's very interesting because all phenomena changing momentarily. That means our mind, consciousness, everything changing momentarily. So the valid cognizer means the first time, the first moment. Okay. So for example, when you look at, if you look at this pen for 3 seconds, I just hide, I just show. The first moment, the first moment of the eye consciousness is the direct valid cognizer. Second moment is no more valid direct cognizer. It will change into subsequent cognizer because it repeat. Right? They see first, continue seeing the same thing. That we call subsequent cognizer. That means the direct valid cognizer or inferential perceiver, they have to perceive the object first moment. Second moment, we don't call direct or inferential cognizer. We call subsequent cognizer. This means it looks like seeing the object, same thing. It's not really totally new. Okay, new. That's why we call subsequent. Then next one, what is this? Correctly assuming consciousness is so important. Correctly assuming consciousness. Correctly assuming consciousness. This is so important. So, for example, you use, the correct, the right logic and reasoning. Then you use the logic to understand impermanence. So you use the logic for many, many times. Finally, you have an assumption that things are impermanent, but not 100% sure, right? For example, so in Singapore we don't have a really, big mountain. So behind the mountain you can see, look like, smoking, maybe look like big steam, right? Smoke or steam, hot water. And when there's a big hot water, a big hot spring, there's a lot of you can steam. So you are quite far away from the mountain. You can see something behind the mountain, right? Something behind the mountain. What do you think? You can have two assumption. You say maybe the black thing can be smoking, like a smoke. Can be steam, right? You are not sure, right? For example, you are quite far away from the mountain. You can see behind the mountain there's something is like a black is coming. What do you think? Oh, maybe it's like a smoke. Maybe like it's steam. How you can finally make a decision? It's sure it is a smoke, not a steam. Or maybe how you can 100% sure it is steam, not smoke. How through an investigation? How you can investigate? If you go see, then you see directly. You're not really dependent. That's why, you don't move. You just stay at the same place. You just do a lot of reason logic. Or you've been there before, maybe a few years ago or a few weeks ago. You've been there. There wasn't any water. Then you think, it cannot be like a stream because behind there's no water, no river. Okay, this means it's not really stream. It is smoke or not. Still you need to think, many different ways. Finally, you need to prove yourself. Behind the mountain, there's no fire. No fire, then no smoke. No water, no steam. Right? So sometimes for example, we say behind the mountain there's a fire because there's a smoke. When you see smoke, you can make assumption there's a fire. Right? That may be called, correct assumption. That means you're doing a lot of reasoning and logic. You are almost 100% sure. You can say there is no steam, there is not clouds, it's a smoke. It's almost 99% sure. In the reality, 99% is sure it is a smoke. But it's still we don't call the valid direct perceiver. Or we don't call inferential cognizer. Because it's not 100% there. When the mind totally becomes 100% sure about, this is smoking, then we call it change, correct assuming consciousness, transform as a direct perceiver or inferential. The next,
non-discerning direct perception.
okay, yeah. In his Sanskrit, it was good to know this. So the direct, the valid perceiver, Sanskrit they call, Pratyaka. Inferential they call Anuman. Anuman means, you are making kind of statement, the right statement using the right reasoning logic, anuman. The subsequent cognized Sanskrit is called Parichitnan Jnan. So you need to know this one. The next one, non-discerning direct perception. Nangla mange. Okay, Nangla mange, non-discerning direct perceiver. So based on English language, what do you understand? Huh? For example, in Tibetan we use Nangla Mangeba. There's a true, okay? Nangla means, Mangeba like non-discerning, right? Discerning? Yeah, non-discerning, right? It's important. Non-discerning direct perception. That means, for example, you are fully absorbed, a music. You are listening music very carefully. Your eye consciousness is so strong, is totally absorbed the sound. Right, the sound. Somebody pass in front of you. Pass. If somebody asks you who went, in front, who left in front of you, who passed through you, you say, yeah, somebody. But I don't understand that. That means you see, you perceive, but you are not sure. So in our life, it happens so many times. Sometimes you are just keep thinking something. Somebody say hello, you cannot hear. Right? That means you cannot hear. Sometimes you hear, but you're not sure. It is like human sound or some other sound. We call non-discerning direct perceiver. That means you see, you perceive the object, but you cannot, understand. You really don't know. This is called, the direct, because of non-discerning direct perceiver. Then last one, another one, doubting consciousness. Doubting consciousness is very important. There can be positive, can be negative. Okay, doubting. As a Buddhist, before we believe in something, we must have a doubt. So important. Even though, somebody say, okay, tomorrow in Singapore, we have there's one Rinpoche is coming. He's a Buddha. Right? Say he's a Buddha. Everybody is going to rush to see him, right? Nobody has a doubt. Nobody asks a question. You say, you just believe the person is a Buddha. Actually not. So if you have a doubt, you ask question. You ask question yourself. You ask other people. Through asking question, through doing kind of research, finally you can understand the person is Buddha or not. So the doubt can be positive, can be negative. Generally, it's so important to have a doubt. When you have a doubt, you have a question. When you have a question, you do a lot of research. When you do a lot of research, you can find the right things. Doubting mind. The next one, deceptive consciousness or wrong consciousness. Deceived mind, the wrong mind. So, for example, all conditioned phenomena are what? Impermanent. Right? Are you believe? If you don't believe, you can say, I don't accept, all conditioned phenomena are impermanent. Also, openly you can say, oh, this is conditioned phenomena, but not impermanent. Right? Anybody can say? Huh? May I raise a question? Does everybody really believe all conditioned phenomena are impermanent? Do you believe? Yes. No doubt. Okay. Then, what about the mind? Mind. We can see, our body, is every day getting all and all, or if one day we, we're going to burn, maybe going to put in the ground, then it's totally disappear. Finally, the body become particles. What about the mind? What about the, like you, you and me? That's why I'm saying, it's so easy to understand the body is impermanent. Is changing, day by day. The consciousness, can you see, it's changing? It changed the object, right? But you cannot see the one day the consciousness going to disappear. You cannot see. Or can you believe or not? Disappear?
Should I have the consciousness disappear? I thought somebody when
No. That's why not disappear, right? It's always there, right? It is permanent or impermanent? Huh? Permanent. Impermanent. Why?
Moment to moment, and when you reincarnate or whatever, it's continuous for you, but it changes through your form as you trans.
For example, okay, I have a piece of, let's say, piece of gold. First I put the wooden box, right? Second I put in the plastic box. Do you think the gold is changed? But the container is changed. The container is changed, right? First put in the wooden box, second put in the plastic box. That means the container is changed. The content gold, do you think is changed? No?
But the mind is more complex than the whole.
The goal is
Okay.
I mean,
Okay. We have to say, first we put the gold in the wooden box, second put the plastic box. It's changed. Because first the gold in the wooden box, second in the plastic box. The gold which in the wooden box is not more in the wooden box, it's in the plastic box. It's changed because the time is changing. The time is totally different. The container is different. The location is different. This means it's changing. Nowadays, there's a very important, debate between Buddhist scholar and modern scientist. Modern scientists believe. Do you know the black hole? Black hole. They really believe the black hole is permanent. Not only that, we have a lot of Geshe who joined in the one vision. Many Geshe also raised, what about the black hole? Black hole is permanent or impermanent? Modern scientists believe it is permanent. But the definition of permanent between Buddhists and modern scientists is different. When they just look at it, you cannot see much changing. They say it's a permanent, but still impermanent. It's impermanent. Now look, we're talking about the wrong, deceived mind. We everybody understand, yes, ignorance is deceived mind, right? Deceived mind. How? Why? Ignorance is deceived mind. Attachment is deceived mind. Anger is deceived mind. Why? Misperceive the reality. For example, ignorance. Ignorance misperceive the object. How? Okay, so before we talk about, first we talk about, self, Atma. Hindu they say, Atma. Or Christianity called the soul. Do you know how many characteristics the soul has? Permanent. Soul has 3 characteristics. What are they? Immortal, omniscient, omnipresent. Right? Omnipresent means the soul is always there. Omni means always. Present means always there. It was, in the future, in the past, is present. It will in the continuously future, continuously. Therefore, omnipresent. Right? Omnipotential, right? Omnipotential. Then last one, permanent. So, when we say, all phenomena are selflessness, means not any phenomena has these three characteristics. For example, it is not permanent because it is impermanent. Why it is impermanent?
Because the subject continues to...
Okay, so this is more detail I will explain. This pen is changing momentarily. That changing depends on what? You don't need to depend on any other. It's changing because of their its own condition. For example, if I throw this pen in the space, somehow you're going to drop. The drop because I throw a certain level. I cannot throw forever. It's drop up because it depends on the cause, the person who throw. Right? There no need any other condition. But you can talk about gravity. Still, it change because their own causing condition. Impermanent. Second, singleness. The things exist, as independently. There must be permanent, must be singleness. Singleness, right? Singleness. Means it is singleness or not? No. It has so many different parts. It's a lit, it's a ink, it's a color. There's hundreds of billions of particles come together. They become as a, like marker pen. It's not totally singleness. It is not permanent, it is impermanent. It is not singleness, it has many parts. It depends on many parts. Third one, let's call, directional, what do you call? Permanent, singleness, partless. Okay, partless. So if the thing exists independently, it must be permanent. It must be singleness. It must be partless. It is partless. It is partless or not?
No.
It has many parts. Right? Now we'll go more detailedly. Everybody believes, right, this is impermanent, this is not singleness, this is not partless. It has many parts. It has many particles. Now we collect. It's not easy to understand. So we have 4 schools, right? 4 schools. First we call Vaibhashika, Swatantratika. Now we just collect, we just collect one of the smallest atom, right? One of the smallest atom. When you break down, you can see many particles. Yes, finally, you just select one of the smallest particle, right? Do you think the smallest particle is impermanent? Do you think the smallest particle is it has many parts? Do you think it is not singleness? Why ask you this question? Because within the 4 school, the first school, which is Vaibhashika, Swatantratika school, they believe partless particle, partless consciousness, partless time. Okay? That means, for example, when I click, they say 1 minute, right? 1 minute. one moment. One moment can divide into, according to Buddhist, so gross, we can 60 moment. Within the the 60 moment, within the 60 moment, we call it one moment. We say this is the shortest time. Shortest time. But modern scientists, one clit is you can divide into billions of time. Within the smallest, shortest time can be partless, can be singleness. Because the first two schools believe there's a partless particle. Partless means no part. Partless particle, partless consciousness, partless time. But the Mahayana school, which is Chitta Mantra, Madhyamaka school, they don't accept, they totally reject. There's no partless time, no partless consciousness, no partless time. Okay, it's not easy to understand because part and partless because I said to you, if we within the billions of particles, right? You just collect one particle. It's so small, one of the smallest particle. Do you know one of the person who win the Nobel Prize, who found the smallest particle, right? I think maybe 15 years ago. He said, I found the smallest particle, he cannot break. Then he won the Nobel Prize. Then after 10 years, somebody break the smallest atom, then he won the Nobel Prize. Who said cannot break, he also Nobel Prize. He break, he also Nobel Prize. He win the Nobel Prize. That means there's a doubt, according to Buddhist four schools, particularly first two school. Actually, okay, we can raise a question directly here. One particle made of what? We believe four elements. Within the four elements, right? For example, this is one particle. This particle has four parts: water, air, fire, and earth. We bring the water particle. Is made of what? Again, four elements. Right? It's just repeating. Understand? First, made of four elements. Within the four elements, we just separate the water particle. It made of what? Four elements. Again, within the four elements, we separate the water elements. Again, four elements. Do you think we really can go on limitlessly, endlessly? It doesn't make sense, right? It's not really logical. Right? Then again, water. That means finally there must be some particle is permanent. Otherwise it's going to go to endless. Right? Then think about consciousness. You have a consciousness, say, one moment consciousness, one movement. The one moment consciousness you can divide into many pieces, right? Many pieces. If you go more, finally, you're going to say, yes, there's a partless consciousness. I cannot make anymore, I cannot divide anymore, right? That may look like there's a partless particle, partless consciousness, partless time. That's the time, just a click. It divided into 60 seconds. Just, separate one shortest moment, it can be divided. Right? It can be divided. Then again go endless. That's why, many scientists said, the Buddhist philosophy looks very, logical. Sometimes it doesn't. They say something, not really logical, it look like illogical. For example, our consciousness come from where? come from the previous life. The previous life consciousness come from where? The previous. They go where? Finally we say, there's no beginning point. There's no beginning point of the consciousness. There's no beginning point of the my body. Any impermanent phenomena, there's no beginning point. Right? Do you believe? Beginning point when it start from here. Right? Can you say? For example, this is what? This is plastic. If you think about this, the previous cause can be tree. Right? Can be tree. Then think about the previous of the previous cause of the tree can be particle. The thing about the previous cause of the particle, let's go more particle. It's so interesting to think this way. Except the consciousness, okay, let's say consciousness and consciousness. Otherwise, everything starts from very small moment, right? Small moment. For tree, you can see the big tree. The big tree which we can see right now, it was small like this, maybe 40 or 50 years old, very small, right? Then 100 years ago, it was maybe small particle. Billions years ago, there may be smallest particle. Then small change bigger and bigger. Now we can see the big tree. When we cut the tree, what happened? We cut the tree, we burn the tree, then all the the things become particle. Right? The particles remains in the space for many years. That's why, according to Buddhist cosmology, we have two traditions. One is we call Abhidharma, one we call Kalachakra teaching. According to Kalachakra teaching, the origin of the universe was the one smallest particle. Right? It is the same, the ideology of modern scientists. They say everything starts from small particle, then they expand, they become more bigger. Finally, everything squeeze into small particle. So according to the Kalachakra teaching, the origin of universe was the smallest particle, what we call space particle. That means is one of the smallest particle remain in the space due to certain condition, and two particles stick together, become bigger. Then 4, 5, 10, 20 billions. Slowly, universe become based on one smallest particle. If you think this way, it's so difficult to say all conditioned phenomena are impermanent. Right? It's become big and small, but does remain forever. So now I just introduce, the mind you can divide into 7, you can have 7 many different ways you can divide. Now the 7 is very important. So, the deceptive mind or wrong mind or consciousness, then you can have a lot of divisions. All the attachment, anger, desire, ignorance, everything we call, deceit. How we call deceit? For example, things exist dependently. Ignorant perceive the object as independently. The object is not that beautiful. When we have a strong attachment, we perceive the object is 100% beautiful. That means our assumption and the reality, there's a big gap. It's gap because the mind has a misperception. This is the very important because we believe, become a Buddha. One day we believe, one day we become a Buddha. If we practice properly, seriously, we believe we become Buddha. In order to really believe, to be Buddha, first I have a positive mind, I have a negative mind. The negative mind is just, arise randomly. also it arises based on misunderstanding, misperception. If you know that this man is kind of baseless, which is perceived the object, you think this when the ignorant perceive the object is independently, and independently, that means they perceive the object as independently. The independently existence is baseless. Then the opposite one, what? Dependently. If you understand things are arising dependently, then the mind which is perceived things are exist independently. Both mind become contradict. Same time, for example, we don't talking about compassion towards Mr. A, anger towards Mr. B. The compassion, anger, we just say focus on one person, Mr. A. When you have a strong anger towards Mr. A, that moment you don't have a compassion. When you have a strong compassion towards Mr. A, that moment you don't have an anger towards Mr. A. Right? If keep practice continually the compassion towards Mr. A continually, the one day there's a time you don't have any sense of anger towards Mr. A. Then you can see the compassion completely reached to 100%. And bodhicitta, reached to the 100%. That's what we call Buddha. Okay, so we stop here. It's just simple introduction about, the mind, In the future, if you continuously attend Lamrim class, every day I will explain maybe 10 to 20 minutes about the master course in Nalanda. Because most of you, many of you attend the class, some of you totally new. If you're going to attend the Lamrim class, every day I will explain maybe 10 or 15 minutes from this book. Also the tenets, also the Dhu-dra. Okay? Okay, so thank you so much. So attend the basic introduction of Buddhism. Okay. I ask you a question. Answer must be honestly. You have to answer honestly. Honestly. Okay. So how many times we had a class about introduction Buddhism? 7 or 8? Over 7 or 8, I don't remember. I don't have to remember. I don't need to do the homework. Okay. So let's say most of you attend the introduction, introduction of Buddhism class. Did you really, do you really think, this kind of useful or important? Or you can say, I attend this class, every day, everything is useless. You can say this way. What do you think?
Very useful, very useful. Answer, please.
No. We are not communist party, huh? Okay, anyway. So the people who wish to attend in Lamrim class, so every day I will explain a little bit, because it's, we call, one bullet kill 2%, right? One bullet can kill 2%. One bullet. 2 birds. Yeah, same. Now people use the bullet. That means one class you can learn 2 things. One, little bit about the Nalanda tradition, and then Lamrim. In the Lamrim, okay, so we follow the Lama Tsongkhapa Lamrim, but we are not going through page by page, sentence by sentence. Also, I cannot read. So I ask you to, you just read from here to here, try to find the main kind of, point. There are so many quotations you don't need to understand. You don't need to remember. At the beginning, say, the greatness of the teaching, the greatness of the, person who composed the teaching. First, you need to know the main point. you don't need to remember all the words, all the quotation. I say not important. Also, you don't need to remember. More important, you just remember the main point. The point which you remember, you understand, you must apply in day-to-day life. Otherwise, if you just learn the teaching from class, from books, from audio, if you don't apply, then we believe we can have anything for next life. We believe, but we don't know. That means you are just wasting your time. You read page by page, try to find the main point, and try to apply in your day-to-day life. Okay, thank you so much. So we can do the dedication prayers. Yes.
Are we having long reading every day?
Every day means every
Thursday, right?
Thursday, yeah.
7:30 to 9.
Yeah.
Next week onward.
Yeah, 7:30 to 9. So maybe we spend, short time, maybe 10 to 15 minutes, then Lamrim, or maybe before Lamrim, end of the Lamrim class, we spend a little bit time this book.